welcome back to more Let's Play Seduce Me! Oh yeah. Whew! I had to take a very long break since, I last played this, which of course you guys are probably not going to notice, because I'm going to upload this at this same usual scheduled time, but, yeah, last time when I played it, compared to what I'm playing now, it's been a while, so, anyway. Stuff happened! We killed Malix! Only to get a new villain of the story, Diana! Crap! But hopefully this might be the final episode. Hopefully. There's not too much left. But we shall see. But without further ado, let us begin the tale of James and Mika. After what seemed like hours, I finally woke up, slightly refreshed. My body knew that if I slept any longer, I'd be up all night, which was not part of the plan for the day. I rubbed my eyes and sat up, letting a soft groan escape my lips. In response, something beside my bed shuffled, causing me to look over. I didn't know what I was expecting. Beside me, sitting in a chair beside the bed, was James, rousing himself up to see me awake. I smiled at him, seeing his slightly ruffled hair and tired eyes.
Oh, you're awake. Good. Ooh, how do you feel?
Let's see. Can't remember if this matters or not. Let's decide part about playing this game after a 2-year break. Well, after not playing this for 2 years, I don't remember what anything is good. Which one is good. But I think I'll say better. James nodded before he gently reached over and ran his hand through my hair, examining my face with soft sadness. Yeah, I don't think that option mattered. Okay, I don't think so. Doesn't seem like it mattered.
I'm sorry this is all happening to you. I really wish there was something I could do to fix all of this.
James, it's not your fault.
No, if we never came, then you'd never be targeted by either Malix or Diana.
I quickly reached over and put my finger on his lips, stopping him from going any further. I didn't want to hear anymore. James, it's okay. I wanted to help you out. I offered to let you stay. Nothing is your fault. I gently moved my hand and cupped James's cheek, staring at him with concern. I didn't want him to hold guilt in his mind about this whole ordeal. Diana was desperate, and she'd hunt anyone for them. It wasn't his fault she was desperate enough to hunt them down. However, I was curious. So, James, you're a demon prince? James then twirled a strand of my hair around his finger, staring at it.
Yes, I am. I was.
Was?
I was a demon prince when I lived in the Abyssal Plains. I didn't enjoy a single minute of being the heir. The only moments I truly enjoyed were when I was with my brothers. Thus, I left with them to come here.
What was it like while you were there?
Well, other than consistent studying and training to be a resilient leader and all-around ruthless lord, it was bland. I never truly knew what freedom was until I was excused from my sessions.
James looked to me with a thoughtful look on his face. I stared back, wondering what was going through his mind. He then smiled before taking off his glasses and placing them on me. I was surprised, but instead of seeing him, I saw dark gold and purple magic swirl in front of my eyes through the matte glass. The vision cleared, and I suddenly was back in the demon castle. I looked around, feeling stuck in place, but my eyes constantly landed on a demon version of James. He was sitting on the throne of the main hall, reading over a book with an intense expression. It was kind of cute to see, but he read in silence.
You'll wear out your eyes if you read too much.
James looked up from his book to see a figure materialize in front of him. It was an older woman with black cloak and aged horns. I could see she had power, though, and it gave me shivers to look at her.
Sharona, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be at the Lord gathering with my father?
I should, yes. but I had to stop by and see the Demon Lord's favorite son before I head in.
I am honored. However, I must apologize and return to my reading.
Of course, of course. Wouldn't want to make the Demon Lord angry now, would you?
I could see James's eyes twitch a bit at her comment. However, James simply bowed his head and went back to his book in silence. Serona shook her head and let out a chuckle.
What will you do when you become the Demon Lord? It's such a big responsibility.
James looked up once again, confused at the question. Serona simply smiled and began to walk away.
Think about that.
James and I watched her walk away, both of us with the same surprised and confused expression. I looked back to James to see him press his lips together and stare at the floor. Anyone could tell that he was lost, unsure of how to even answer that to himself. It was strange to see him in a form of weakness, jostled at a simple question that was more than it appeared. James closed his eyes and closed the book in his lap. It was then that I noticed the tired circles under his eyes. He had been working himself to the bone with his training and reading. When was the last time he slept? I could feel James in the real world, gently sliding the glasses from my face and place them back on his. It took me a second to recenter my vision, but I then looked to James, who smiled at me.
It was then that I decided to find my brothers. Little did I know that they were wanting me to come on a trip that would make me leave my entire realm to be in a new world.
I stared up at him, surprised, before bringing my hand gently back onto his cheek and running a thumb softly under his eye. He looked healthier and a lot less tired than when I saw him in the vision. Something about that made me happy. James gently leaned into my hand, closing his eyes and relaxing. He then slightly smiled, trying to joke.
So, how does it feel to hold the affections of an ex-demon prince?
Oh! 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 I stared, feeling my cheeks glow red in surprise and embarrassment, but I smiled and giggled slightly, running my thumb back and forth along his cheek gently. I have to say, I'm flattered to think you ran away from that life. James frowned, making me stop moving my thumb as he stared at me.
I can promise you, that was no life to live.
But it was your home.
A home is where you can be yourself, not tied to your duty.
James gently ran his hand along my cheek, gingerly outlining the edge of my eye and ear with his thumb.
Home is where all I have to do is care about the ones close to me.
James. James smiled and gently leaned in, kissing my forehead. I felt a small shiver run down my spine from his kiss, noticing that he sneakily took some energy from me in that little kiss.
Now, you need to rest. You're not fully recovered. You might as well rest until dinner is ready.
James smiled and gently pressed me back down onto the bed, leaning his forehead on mine. And I think this does matter. Yep, it mattered. Yes, still that kiss, girl. Out of playful fun, I lifted my head and gently kissed James, softly laying a hand on his cheek to keep his face close. James stared in surprise before kissing me back, pressing my cheek, slightly melting at the touch of our lips. A soft sigh escaped his lips before he slowly pulled away with a smile. He gently licked his lips, making me go red in the face at the simple gesture. He let out a satisfied hum before nuzzling my forehead.
Rest.
And with that, he stood up and left the room, leaving me to rest as per his request. I smiled to myself before relaxing into the mattress. So much for sleeping. I suddenly tensed up. I felt majorly uneasy. Something wasn't right. I felt it in my core. She must be here. The thought of her in the house infuriated me beyond belief. I had to make sure she was not here. I rolled out of bed and quickly left my room, wandering the halls and listening closely. She was a demon, but I was listening very intently. There was no way she would have been able to sneak up on me. I know you're here. Where are you? I could feel myself growl. It was a matter of fear that she'd take away the boys anymore. Her very existence had lit a fire of rage within my gut, which only grew each day went by. This feud was getting on my nerves, and I knew it would not end well for one of us. I wasn't going to lose to that demon bitch.
Diana, what are you doing here?
My heart stopped. Diana was with James. My mind flew into slow motion, playing fake images of Diana, trying to seduce James in my head to further fan the angry flame inside me. I instinctively followed James's voice and approached the study. The door was open, just a crack, wide enough to peek in without being noticed. I peeked inside to see James by the bookshelf with Diana in one of the armchairs looking to him.
Silly man, why do you think I'm here?
To be fairly honest, I don't really care.
I'm hurt, wounded, truly. You don't care that I came to this pathetic little world just for you?
I'm sorry, let me make this clear. You are not welcome here, so I suggest leaving.
Is that any way to speak to your fiancé?
Diana wasn't his fiancée anymore. Why was she speaking as if the arrangement was still going on?
Our arrangement was broken when I left the Abyssal Plains. You are no longer my fiancé.
What a stubborn man. Just like your father. Well, you should know. He decreed that should you return home, you'll maintain your status and keep your birthright.
James would be the heir again? Why?
I don't want it.
You don't want it. You'd give up the...
I said I don't want my damned birthright. What birthright? It's imprisonment, a life sentence. Am I not allowed to be selfish for once in my lifetime?
Damn! James! You ready to kill me, damn boy!
It's your reason for your birth. Do you not realize what you have?
I could feel James's anger emanating from the crack in the door, fighting with Diana's tension. Diana and James are both matched, staring each other down.
I know exactly what I had. That's all behind me. I'm done with that. To hell with my birthright.
To hell with your birthright. You truly think you can decide that? You are the first son of the Demon Lord. You are the heir to the throne, and I am your bride, the next Demon Queen.
Why was Diana so desperate? It irked me to see how desperate she was to get James' return.
Raystrau, you...
All of a sudden, James ran at Diana and pinned her to the floor by her neck. I felt the need to jump in, but I knew James wasn't trying to do anything romantic. He wouldn't. His voice sent shivers down my spine as they continued to speak with his hand at her throat.
And what gives you the right to use my name like that? Only demons of the same blood are permitted to use each other's true names.
When our families arranged our marriage, I was given permission to use your name as mine. That's what you are, James. You are my husband. I am your queen. You are my Raystrau. I am your Izeur.
I could hear James growling in anger, like he was ready to bite Diana's head off like a wolf would a small deer. I felt myself growling quietly to myself as well. However, James pushed himself off the floor and returned to the opposite side of the room, away from the prone Diana.
I do not belong to you. I belong to her.
Aww!
The human girl? You must be joking. A human like her can't possibly provide you what you need. She is a human. You're a demon.
I felt the urge to storm in and shut her mouth. It would give away my position, but I was growing extremely tired of Diana. And yes, this does affect getting the ultimate good ending with James, so barge in and set her straight. I decided to be assertive and quickly stepped into the room, throwing the door to the study wide open. Diana and James looked at me in surprise as I glared daggers at Diana. Get out.
Well, well, little human. You're awfully nosy in business that doesn't concern you.
It does concern me.
Does it? I don't think a human would understand the importance of this affair.
You're asking him to leave to be someone he doesn't want to be. That's not going to happen.
Oh? And what makes you so sure about that?
Because I love him, goddammit! Diana stared in shock at my exclamation. Was it not what she'd expected? I didn't care what she expected. I wasn't going to lose the man I had grown to love.
You love him?
Oh, look at that smirk. Just yeah, you heard her, bitch. Get out. Yes, I love him. Diana's lips twitched, the edge is curling into an amused smirk as she stared at me.
So what? A human's love isn't enough to understand the situation. A demon can never reciprocate human feeling.
To both of our surprise, however, James stepped forward and put an arm around me, pulling me close to his body.
I love her.
I saw the confidence Diana had shattered in her eyes as she stared at James at his words. I could see the struggle in her face to try and find some weakness in James. In me. Anything.
A demon love a human? Impossible.
It's only impossible because you don't have the capability to love. This woman has given so much to shelter me and my brothers and has given me her heart to cherish. I'd rather care for this woman for the rest of my days than spend an eternity on the demon throne. Especially if the queen is you.
Diana took a step back, physically feeling the sting of James's words in her chest. She had lost. I could see it in her eyes. Diana's eyes grew dull as she glared at me and James. It seemed almost uncharacteristic of her. Yet, it was something I wasn't surprised to see come from her face.
Very well. Fine. Valet.
And with that, Diana faded into the ground, into a purple pentagram, crossing her arms and almost looking upset. James and I were then left alone, left with the silence of the room. I finally let out the air I was unconsciously holding in my chest, relaxing from the ordeal. James stepped to me and held me gently, surprising me.
Are you okay?
I nodded in response, unable to speak so immediately after being surprised. James let out a sigh, relaxing in their embrace. I gently placed my hands around him, returning the embrace slightly. I could hear James's heartbeat. He held me close in his arms, and I felt safe beyond words.
I wasn't lying, you know.
I looked up at James, wondering what he meant by what he said. James smiled down at me, moving a strand of my hair from my face to look down at me.
I love you. I love every single fiber of you. Your mind, your body, your soul. You're quite possibly the most interesting woman I have ever met. You always find your way into my mind. You...
I stared wide-eyed, blushing like a maniac. Was this real? No way. This couldn't be real. Was James confessing to me? Confessing his love for me? Oh, Nani? James gently smiled and caressed my cheek. The warmth of his hand invited me to nuzzle into it, and I closed my eyes. This wasn't a dream. My heart was pounding to the point where I was sure James could hear it. James gently leaned in, closing his eyes. He stopped, however, remaining just a mere torturous inch away from my lips. He wanted me to show my feelings for him. He had left himself open for me to kiss him or leave him empty. The power I had was unbelievable. Oh, you never gonna kiss him. Uh-huh. Oh, and that was a choice, apparently. I did not know that. Oh, good thing I chose the right one then, because I would hate to do this all over again just to get the correct ending. I loved him, and I wanted to give him exactly what he wanted. I gently leaned in, letting my lips finally touch his gingerly. James let out almost a pleasured purr against my lips before wrapping both of his arms around my waist, pulling me close to him. I moved my arms up and around his neck, feeling the kiss between us deepen to a heated height. My chest was pounding, making me feel and see fireworks in my mind. James was everything I desired. He was the man I wanted, demon or not. It was also supernatural to fall in love with someone so quickly. Maybe it was a sense magic I was thrown into. Maybe it was Cupid playing with my heart. Either way, I found myself melting at the thought of him being with me. I found myself combing my fingers through James's hair, making the man holding me softly tremble at my touch. He gently nibbled on my lower lip, asking me to deepen the kiss between us even further. I easily teased him before finally opening my mouth slightly for him. His tongue gently danced with mine as one of his hands slid up my back and cradled my head. He gently leaned my body back, making me cling to him as the heat of our kiss rose higher and higher. Gently, though, James slowed down the kiss and pulled away, staring down at me. His eyes burned for me, wanting me to melt and buckle in his arms. I could feel myself melt already. James opened his mouth to speak, but as a very small blush ran along his cheeks, he was reduced to shy silence. I stared as he tried to find the words to say in my eyes. I knew exactly what he wanted. He didn't need energy, though, right? Are you?
No,
I stared wide-eyed, feeling a blush on my cheeks grow. He didn't say anything more, but I knew what words would have followed if he continued. He wanted me. Oh. I was stunned. Was I that appealing to him? Was his passion really that deep for me? James gently lifted his head and kissed my forehead, losing the blush and finally being able to speak.
If you don't want to, we don't have to.
I could feel my mind go numb and purr at the idea. A moment within incubus. He was a demon of sex, the purest form of lust and desire. My world would rock and I would enjoy every second of it. At the same time, I was indeed inexperienced. Diana wasn't wrong when she claimed me to be an innocent. Did I want to give that innocence to him, especially this early? I found myself forgetting the words yes and no. What could I say to him? I knew then that I wanted what I wanted, but how to say it without breaking the moment. Now, if I remember correctly, you do not get penalized if you do this. This is the whole, do you want to have sex with me or just simply hold me? But, again, you don't get penalized if I recall correctly, so it doesn't matter. But that's what we're here for. We're here for the smeck scenes. And if I recall, James is like the most tame out of all of them. Like, the picture of it. I don't really have to add no big fat nopes on it, but... Anyway. Seduce me. I couldn't believe the two words that came out of my mouth. It made the most sense to him, to tell him yes. I needed him. I wanted him. Those two words must have made something in him finally break. James quickly resumed the kiss with me, to which I eagerly kissed back and pulled him closer to my body. The heat inside of my chest was craving his touch, and I needed to deny any space between us. James lowered a hand and brought one of my legs around his waist as he lowered his other hand to my waist. Without breaking the kiss, I gripped to his shoulders and jumped off my feet, wrapping both my legs around him and making him pull me up. His touch kept raising my knee for him higher and higher, bringing my mind to the desire that was buried in the back of my mind. James held me close, kissing me deep and making me moan against his lips. I could feel our bodies sink into the ground, noticing a gentle gold glow penetrating through my closed eyelids. Before I could open my eyes, however, I felt our bodies fall into a familiar feeling bed, with James landing on top of me. Oh! I stared up at James as he pulled his face slowly away from mine. His eyes were almost glowing in the dark room, piercing into my soul and making me shiver in anticipation. He effortlessly moved his gray sweater and red tie, leaving him in his tightly fitted white button-up shirt over me. I could practically feel the heat of his skin through the thin fabric. Wow, I could not say that. Brain dead. However, as he held me, I could slightly feel the shiver of his hands. He was nervous? Was I his first? He wasn't going to show it. He wanted me to enjoy this moment, but was afraid of screwing up. His shivering hands showed me his emotions perfectly. I gently reached up and brought his head down, kissing him once again. I wanted him not to worry. The pleasure between us would have been heavenly, and we'd go through it together. I closed my eyes and gave myself to James. My body, my mind, my soul, it all belonged to him as he held me. His body, his mind, his soul, it all belonged to me as I gave in to his embrace. His kisses, his fingers over my skin would forever engrave themselves into my memory, as our passion rose through incredible heights. Our breaths and moans to each other equally sounded and echoed like a blissful chant we never wished to end. We kept moving, loving, feeling every inch of our bodies until we hadn't enough. and I was enveloped in his embrace. Skin to skin, heartbeats matching, we held each other in the glow of the aftermath. I nuzzled my head under James's chin as he held me close.
I love you so much.
I love you too. Just to hear those words from James's mouth made my heart flutter. To hear me answer made my soul warm in glee. I could feel both of us sink into a peaceful sleep together. It was the best sleep I've had in days, and I was happy. I had love, and I had my happiness. My life was simply perfect. When I opened my eyes, I found myself staring into James's bare chest. I blushed, but looked up to see James still asleep. His sleepy face made me giggle softly, but the reality of the situation made my heart flutter. I couldn't believe it. I was lying next to the man I had grown to love with all my heart. His warm embrace made me feel safe, and, as a tender moment we just shared replayed in my head, I couldn't help but smile and snuggle into his chest further. Unconsciously, he held me tighter in his body, giving me more of his warmth. I didn't want to move, but then my core suddenly tightened and made me sit up without waking the man next to me. I felt my legs move and bring me to my balcony window, where I opened the glass and stepped out onto the patio. I stared, wide-eyed at Diana, who sat cross-legged on the railing of my balcony with her glowing red eyes stared upon me. I opened my mouth to object, but Diana stopped me. "The fuck you want, bitch?"
Before you get all huffy, I didn't come here to take your precious man away. By the way, how was it exactly? Demons are the best lovers, after all.
And you know how? I glared. "What do you want, Diana?"
Well, I just wanted to see how you truly feel. You know, without him around to influence you.
What are you talking about?
I'm giving you an opportunity to come clean about these feelings of yours, and to give you your salvation.
What was Diana up to? This was beyond crazy. Nothing she had done made sense. Why was I still alive at this rate? What's keeping you from just killing me and taking them?
You are not worth my time.
Damn. Not worth your time? What are you, afraid something might happen? All at once, I felt my body being lifted into the air and moved over past the railings, leaving me with nothing but the ground below to threaten me with a collision death.
Oh, trust me, dear. I'm not afraid to kill you. I can drop you right now and leave your body to rot until the morning, when the boys would find you.
I wanted to speak, but the thought of her letting go and letting me fall to my death scared my voice into silence. Diana then chuckled and wheeled my body back to the balcony, setting me down gently.
Alas, if I kill you, then the boys would never come with me willingly back to the demon world, and then I'd have to chase them all around the world, or kill them and drag them back. But then their father wouldn't be happy, and blah blah blah. Too much work.
At least you're honest about it. Diana seemed very business-oriented, as if the boys were cargo more than men. It irked me, but she then smiled.
I'm giving you one chance to denounce your love for the demon in your bed, and let me take him and the other boys back to the demon world.
And why, may I ask, would I do that?
There are so many reasons why, actually. There's the reason that he's a demon and you're a human, so you two can never truly have a happily ever after. Then there's the reason that demons truly do not know how to love, despite what he may proclaim. The list goes on and on. The point is, if you give me the boys, I will promise you eternal happiness.
Eternal happiness?
That's right. I have the power to give you anything you desire. Power, men, women, money, fame. Name it, and it's yours. A demon never goes back on their word, and I have the power to obtain anything you wish. Our deal is our contract.
I could only stare in shock. This was a dream. It had to be. However, Diana smiled an almost genuine smile at me, shaking me to the reality of the situation. She would never smile like that.
Don't you wish to be free of your destiny? Your father constantly berating you to become the next CEO of your grandfather's company.
How did you... I was almost floored and surprised. How did Diana know all this? She was a succubus, yes, but how could she know anything beyond sexual desire? She wasn't Damien. Diana chuckled and leaned back against her arms.
Just because I play with hearts and sex doesn't mean I don't know my way around the human mind. You happen to be an open book of information, but I digress. I can give you your freedom with ease. It'll be like you were always meant to have it. All I ask is that you hand over the boys. What do you say?
Was I seriously being given this choice? The man I loved for anything I wanted? A demon like Diana was powerful enough, yes, but did I even want to consider giving up the man I loved? Let's see. She must have been crazier than I thought. I glared. Absolutely not. Diana sighed and stood up onto the railing. What was I expecting? Was her lifting me into the air? I tried to scream, but my voice suddenly became locked in silence. What was Diana doing? Diana made me float over to her, and she smirked as we touched noses.
Well, if I can't return home with the boys, I might as well return home with the power to fight back.
Diana finally leaned in and kissed me. I shut my eyes, feeling the need to bite her lips, but finding no muscle in my face, listening to my mental commands. What did she do to me? I didn't want to enjoy it, but every single nerve in my body was flaring in excitement and pleasure as she kissed me. I felt my energy drain slowly, but forcefully from my body. Was she using her magic to force energy out of my body? It seemed like forever, but finally Diana pulled away from the kiss with a smile and a lick of her lips. She lowered me back onto the patio and chuckled. For some reason, even though nothing seemed to have changed, she looked stronger, powerful. It was almost like looking at a new Diana. Diana then stepped back off the railing, making me catch my breath in my throat. As she took another step away from me, she looked to be simply walking on the night air. Diana smirked at my sudden surprise.
May you never regret your choice, human. If you do, I'll happily come and take it away.
With a flick of her hair, Diana turned and walked away into the night, fading into the darkness like a shadow. I watched her fade away before looking back to the man in my bed. Did I make the right choice? My heart gave a gentle thump, giving me my answer. I did, and I will never regret it for as long as I live. I walked back inside and gently crawled back into bed with the embrace of the safest arms I knew. I snuggled close to the warmth before closing my eyes. I was happy. The rest of the story can almost be passed over. With Diana gone, my life returned to normal with school and my friends not remembering what had happened. It was as if magic never even appeared in my world. One thing for certain, however, James loved me, and I loved him just as much. We had promised our lives to each other, and nothing was going to take that away from us, not even time itself. Our love was so powerful, it practically overwhelmed me with joy every time I found him holding me close every night. To think a demon, ex-prince in love with a human like me, it was unthinkable, and unbelievable. It was practically impossible. But it was true. The other boys decided to leave of their own accord. They knew that my future would only need James at my side, so they decided to start their own lives in the human world. James was heartbroken at first, but understood that he had to let his brothers grow like he did. Besides, James had someone new to care for now. His brothers didn't need him now that he was caring for me. I felt bad as well for being closer to James than the others, but they reassured me that I was okay and that they would remain nearby should I ever need them. I was happy for that. They made me promise, however, that I would love James for as long as we lived. That promise was instantly given. But what of my future? Well, it was kind of made for me. Before I graduated, James decided to step up into the light of the Anderson Toys Company, and with the help of his demon powers and leadership charisma, he managed to influence not only the entire board, but my father as well into letting him run for CEO. I was beyond shocked. How James managed to do all that was beyond me. But when the vote was called, James had taken over the company I was destined to have. He vowed to respect the wishes of the late CEO and help the company become an even grander company. For a demon, it was simple to make a company grand. My grandfather would have been proud to see James helped it shine. But the CEO position filled, my father had no choice but to let me decide my future, which made me happy beyond compare. No longer would I... Wow, I'm having a hard time reading right now. No longer would I have the future scaring me into a corner. I could choose my own life. That being said, I was still scared of where the future was going to take me. What did I want to do? Did I want to help James build a company? Did I want to venture off on my own? James reassured me that he would support me and help me through whatever I decided to do, promising that I came first before the company he had come to reign over. I was grateful and would never forget that promise. I was happy, and nothing could shake me down from that happiness. One night, a good couple of years after the boys and I had met, I had a moment to myself. So I sat in my room and took in all that had happened as if it were all a dream. The demons, the devils, the magic. It was all surreal to believe. It almost frightened me to think that it could have all have been a dream. But the warm feeling in my heart reminded me that it was all real. The demons, the magic, the love I had, all real. I smiled as I held my hands in my chest, relishing in the feelings dancing within my soul.
Are you okay?
Wait, did I not get the good one? Did I miss one? I should have missed one. I got them all, didn't I? I looked up from my lap to see James standing at the doorway, cross-armed with a playful raised eyebrow. I smiled and blushed a bit. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm just remembering how we met and such.
Were you now?
Yeah, and I wouldn't change anything. James smiled and walked over to me, gently taking my hands and kissing over the knuckles sweetly.
Come, I have a surprise for you.
Oh, thank God. Yeah, I was thinking it was bad because this is kind of the exact same if you don't get all the good requirements. Oh, okay, but he says he has a surprise. So okay, we got the good ending. We got the bit. We got the good one. We got the right one. Whew. I raised an eyebrow. A surprise? What the heck was he plotting? James simply chuckled and kissed my forehead.
I promise you'll love it.
Oh, I'll love it, huh? Mm-hmm. Deciding to go along with it, I nodded and stood up. James gently took my arm under his and led me out of the bedroom. I stared in shock at the path of golden rose petals lining the floor, creating a path away from my door. James led me down the golden rose path as if this was all part of his plan. James? What's going on? James didn't answer as he continued to lead me down the stairs of the lobby, where the path wound into the dining room. I stared in shock as I saw the table set with candles and a large bouquet of golden roses decorating the middle. James, I feel sort of underdressed, you know.
There's nothing wrong with how you look now. You're beautiful no matter what clothes you are in.
Aww. I couldn't help but let a red blush paint my face, making James chuckle once again. He led me to my seat, where I was greeted with a plate of shrimp pesto on the table. James!
Remember what that is?
Of course! That, sir, is a shrimp pesto dish! James laughed and smiled. I smiled back at him, feeling nostalgia run over my heart. Giddy happiness bubbled as I looked up at the man I had loved. You made it when we first met, when you and your brothers were apologizing for getting blood in the hall lobby.
Well, it was more than that we had to apologize for, but that was the gist of it, yes.
How could I forget? What's this all about? James gently bent forward and kissed my forehead sweetly, making me giggle slightly.
You are such a wonderful woman. I can't believe that I can love someone this much. You have changed my whole world, and now you have become my everything. I practically get scared waking up every morning in case this is all just a blissful dream.
Likewise. James. Before I could speak further, James gently placed his fingers on my lips, hushing me before he caressed my cheek. I nuzzled into his hand, almost purring at the feel of the warmth against my cheek.
I love you, and I will never stop loving you. No matter what comes our way, I promise to be there for you as long as time keeps moving. I want to be yours forever.
Oh, he's popping out the ring! 'Cause he likes it! Before I could realize what was going on, James slowly got down on one knee beside me and took out a small black box. He lifted the top to reveal the beautiful ring with purple gem crowned with gold and purple embellishments. I stared, my mind instantly freezing in surprise at the sight. I felt my eyes water, the immense feeling burst inside my chest.
Will you, Miss Anderson, marry me?
I was speechless. I felt myself break and start to weep in joy. Was this happening? This had to be a dream. I mentally begged every single deity in the sky to never wake me up if that was the case. I felt my tears, trying to speak to answer him, his question. I didn't want to leave him in the dark, and I didn't want him to be on the ground for long. Yes. Yes, I will! I stood up, crying and jumping in joy, as James smiled the biggest smile I had ever seen on his face and slid the ring onto my finger. As it finally ended its upward journey at the crevice of my finger, James stood up and took me into his arms, kissing me and sealing my words. I had gained the heart of a demon. No, of a man I loved. I vowed to cherish him and love him for the remainder of my days and beyond. Could a demon love a human forever? I knew James would. And that was my happily ever after. End. James's proposal. Whew! We gotta unlock the password! Yeah! Demon War! We don't care. And with that, we get the end credits. Oh man. So, as I said before, this was actually my first Atomi game I've ever played. It was like two and a half years ago. But man, I really liked it. I liked the story. I kind of liked the characters too. Even Sam. Sam was okay. I remember not liking Andrew. I kind of remember why I don't like Andrew, but we might have to rerun through his story for me to give an actual opinion to remember it fully, but yeah. I kind of like how many different options there was with this. You could keep the boys, or you can kick them out and not deal with any of the crap. You just had quite a few options. Some of them do get repetitive, like the boys. They're going to get really repetitive to the point we're just going to say, yeah, we're finally done. But yeah, really glad there's voice acting in this game. Really, really, really glad, because I would get so lost in who to voice who. Oh my god. I could do a couple of different voices, but not very well, and I would forget so badly. But again, voice acting, yes! I don't have to do half of the work. Okay, I probably did more than half, but some of the work I didn't have to do, so I'm very happy. But yeah, James's route. He proposed to us. He said he loved us and wanted to marry us. Oh, how sweet. I'm kind of not surprised though that James is the one to propose. And they all do have different endings. Like, they all have kind of like personal demons to face. Demons to face. I didn't realize what I said there. But they have their own issues to face, and they kind of have different endings depending what you choose. Technically, you can still get a good ending. It's just like a rushed ending saying, oh, I'm glad you're happy, and ends, which is a crappy ending. But you don't get the cutscene or the amazing official ending with them, so you gotta be careful what you choose. And you can easily screw it up. The first time I played this, I screwed up a lot. Which is typical, because every time I play Atomi games, I usually get the bad endings, if there are bad endings, or the not-so-great endings. And I ended up getting the bad, not-so-great endings. So. But, yeah! Seduce Me Atomi. A really nice, calm, chilling game. I really liked it. Even though half the time I can't read to save my freaking life, but... I do hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun coming back to this. I really enjoyed it. There's some parts I completely forgot about, like the whole incident where Eric tries to go up into our bedroom and Damien's all like, no, stop it, you're gonna do stuff and stop it. I completely forgot about that whole scene. There's so much stuff I forgot. It was fun. Special thanks to the family and friends of the cast crew. Yeah. Always gotta give them thanks for putting up with your crap. Just kidding. But yeah, we're not necessarily done with James. There's actually bonus endings. Not from the this game specifically. There are bonus endings that you can purchase elsewhere. And I will be playing that next. Barbed dicks, crab nipples, and Richard Pickles. They just don't ask. Oh, okay. I just saw that. I'm like, what the hell is that? But anyway, Seraphine Entertainment. This has been Let's Play Seduce Me Otomi, James's Route. I am Tara the Fox. You are the viewer. And I hope to see you next time.